Yo, what's up?
Cody.
What's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Good, 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 good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Good, good. I've been on Zoom meetings for most of the time. So,
Oh, business?
no. This one was pleasure. A lot of friends,
Pleasure.
just yeah, a lot of ex-coworkers that I had from about 10 years ago decided to have a Zoom meeting, and yeah,
Sounds good.
yeah.
Look at your new background. Look at this.
Oh, this? Yeah. The so I had to I left New York for the whole COVID thing.
Yep.
Like about 3 weeks ago, we kind of realized, actually almost a month now, we kind of realized where things were headed, and we didn't want to be trapped in New York if the order ever came down to, quarantine there. So we came down to Florida, and in a much bigger house. So we're good. We're good.
Yeah, looks good. Let's go. Is that a pool table? We'll play pool after this.
Yeah, pool/ping pong. Yeah.
Nice. So we are, by the way, we are live. We are live on both YouTube on my Robes08 channel, and we are also live on Facebook on my Fragrance Guru Nation Facebook page.
Oh, cool.
So we may have some people from Facebook or YouTube. They're joining us right now. Been a while since we've seen your face.
Yeah, it has been a while, man.
Yeah.
My exile that I've self-imposed exile, if you will.
Yeah. How's that going? Let's nip it in the butt. How's
Good.
it going?
It's good. It's good. It's being completely honest, I was kind of consumed with a lot of real life stuff. At the same time, I kind of felt drained from the way the fragrance game was headed, if you will.
Okay.
And so, I decided to take a step back, kind of refocus on things career wise, health wise, family wise. And yeah, it's been going really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Good. So you did that back in last year, right? June, July?
Yeah,
Summer?
sometimes around that. I think, man, I'm forgetting now. It's almost it's been that long. Almost I want to say, I think I had said 8 months or 9 months. So probably, yeah, beginning of the summer or something like that is what I said.
So we're about 9 months in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's about time for a return. Is there any interest in a return?
Yeah, so I was gearing up for a return before this whole COVID thing happened.
Yeah.
And then because I left, all of my fragrances and stuff like that are back in New York City. So
Right.
there's nothing that I could do with it. And, I was planning on making a video just talking about where I'm at and stuff like that. But I can't realistically do any videos on fragrances until I'm back at my regular scheduled place, basically.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, anybody that doesn't know Cody, which I would assume not a lot of you wouldn't know him, unless you're very new to the scene, I guess. He is from the channel Dracdoc. He took, we'll say 9 months. Well, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Off of YouTube. Looks like he's gearing up for a return, which I'm happy about. He's definitely a pillar in our fragrance community, and I don't say that lightly. There's not too many people I would consider pillars. He's been steadily being a fragrance reviewer for how many years? It must have been at least 8. At least 8.
Yeah, I think, about 8, 9, or I should probably go over and recount. You probably see it from then, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
That sounds about right. Around 2011, 2012, I would assume.
Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah.
It was a good year.
It was.
Joey Cannoli says he needs some Cody back in his life.
Yeah, the game has changed. Game has changed. Damn.
And I'd like to talk about that a little bit during this stream, if you don't mind. But we'll talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
But let's talk about fragrance reviewing a little bit. I know you're a little rusty, so it may take you a little longer to do a fragrance review. But I was always intrigued, and this is pretty much our first time, I think, really interacting. Me and you. I know that we've talked over the years, but I know that I met you back in 2011 when I went to New York for a short stint. But there was a lot of people there, so it really didn't. I didn't really have time for a lot of people intimately, I guess. My question to you is a fragrance review. How long would it take you
Mm.
to make one that we have the final copy on YouTube?
Yeah. For me, from start to finish, it would probably take, in terms of pure man hours, probably about 8 hours, not counting testing. And when I say testing, because the way that I would do it, or sorry, no, that's not accurate. I'd probably say about, in terms of raw time, probably about 5 hours, and then not counting testing from there.
Right.
Because the way that I would do it is, you start off with a fragrance. Maybe you have your initial impressions, and then I kind of had a system where I would wear it during the day. I would try and wear it inside, outside, and I would do this over a period of a week. I would try and have at least 3 different wearings, kind of around, just to see, because sometimes you'll wear a fragrance, maybe you ate something that day, or maybe
Mhm.
you interacted with somebody and maybe it just came off your skin a little funny that day, right? And I've had fragrances where the second or third wearing has been different than my first wearing. So, I always felt that for every fragrance that I reviewed, I always had to have that, mix, if you will. And then from that point on, it's, I jot down my notes for all of that. And then I create the review. I'd create my notes for what I'm going to say kind of during the review. And then I just make one take at it, basically. And give my review, then go back, do the editing, do the sound thing, blah blah blah, and then finally
Right.
publish it out. So yeah, they were time consuming, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I do recall fondly you were one of the first that would actually go out and actually shoot videos of people testing out yourself. I remember you going to work and shoving a camera in front of people's faces and go, "What do you
yeah,
think?"
yeah, man, yeah. That was a lot of fun, actually. It was it's I really liked getting people involved in it, just because I really, and still feel this way to this day, that fragrance is kind of like the forgotten sense, right? Or scent is the forgotten sense. And getting people involved in this area that they didn't really even think about, um, and participate in, and they loved it, so they would always be there to, hey, he's going to have a smell sense again, right, and record us, and
Yep.
they loved it. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was time consuming as well too, now that I
Oh,
actually come to think of it.
of
um,
course. Yeah.
yeah, 'cause you had to get them to agree to it, and which most of the time they did, and then you got to find time to actually record it, and you got to splice that, and yeah. So
Wow.
yeah,
Of course. Is that why you switched that style up?
yeah, I had to. I had to. It was just becoming really ridiculous in terms of how much time these reviews were starting to take. So I had to cut it out.
Nice.
And then just start getting people's feedback, rather just what do you think about this, rather than having to record it and then splice it. Um, yeah, but that was where it came from.
Right. Huh.
Yeah.
Uh, a good question would be, since you've been gone,
Mm.
have you been keeping tabs on the fragrance community, or you just went cold turkey and just F YouTube?
I actually went cold turkey. I just went,
Okay.
F this. And the reason, yeah, I'll be blunt.
Do it.
I do not like influencers.
Okay.
I especially when it comes to fragrance, I think that, and I have to admit, I was completely wrong, because when I initially was okay, actually, let me rewind this back, and this will make sense. I have genuinely always thought the most, and this is not blowing things up. I've genuinely thought the most close we have come to a perfect reviewer is you. And the reason I say that is because I've always thought that the perfect reviewer would be able to go out and purchase a ton of fragrances that they don't even like, right? And
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
take in a whole bunch of fragrances, so that they could take those fragrances and then give their opinions and reviews on it, right? Because I thought that I was looking at the fragrance community, and I thought that the natural progression was, a lot of the reviews were positive, and that's because people tend to buy things that they like to smell, right?
Of course.
No, most people aren't going to drop 100, 200, 300 on a fragrance that they don't think smells good, and
Mhm.
thus they're probably not going to review it, right?
Right.
And so I've always thought that the ideal fragrance reviewer would be somebody who was able to purchase fragrances without having to, give money, right? or without having to, or purchase fragrances where money wasn't an issue. And so when this whole thing about, companies started coming into the mix and started providing reviewers with fragrances, I actually initially thought that was a good thing. I'm like, okay, yeah, now we can review fragrances even that we can't afford.
Yeah.
But then, as time went on, I began to realize, well, that's not necessarily true, because now if a company is giving you a fragrance, you probably are going to give them a more positive review off of that. And then, your whole motivation for reviewing starts to become tied into getting fragrances and, getting money from those fragrances, and it introduces a whole new level that I think destroys and erodes the integrity of reviewing.
Yeah.
For that purpose. And so for that reason, that's why I don't like influencers in that respect, because I feel that they almost can't give true, honest opinions. It just won't work. If they did, they wouldn't be influencers, because they wouldn't get the the fragrances or the money, basically.
Yeah. Not, and being completely honest with you, I've had some of these certain companies reach out to me, but there's stipulations behind it, which to me was a hard no. Just because, first of all, content wise, I know that some content creators, it's content. I'm going to take these bottles because I can't afford getting a collection like mine, right? For me, that's not an issue. Content is, I haven't even reviewed, like, maybe I've reviewed 20% of my whole collection. So yeah, it was one of those things that I got to look at the other side of the coin too. But I see where you're coming from, because I feel like, the major influence in our fragrance community, using that term, is those influencers, which in retrospect, it starts influencing the smaller channels, right? They want that fame, and they want, I'm seeing some of the smaller channels like go, okay, the thumbnails have like little highlights around my person. That's me, that's the way I should be doing it. So it's kind of going cookie cutters going into the community, it spills out, right? So a lot of that then put a lot of like a bad taste in your mouth a little bit. Yeah.
It's well, because I mean, I've been here for a long time, and as a rule, I think everyone kind of knows, I don't ever really get into it with anyone, right? I mean, I'm more of the philosophy, live and let live. Even if I see something that I don't like, I realize that my position within the fragrance community was such that if I say something, it's probably going to start and cause drama, right? And so even if I saw something I didn't like, I wouldn't say anything. But what started to happen is I started, the influence that you were talking about, I started feeling it from my channel as well too. And in other words, there would be people who would comment on my videos and basically say, and not to his fault at all, but this was specifically with Jeremy Fragrance. This is not to his fault. I want to be clear on that.
Okay.
But there were people that are fans of him who would come to my site and be like, "You're copying his videos." Right. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't even watch his videos. Right. And they'd be like, he made this video about this top 10 and you decided to try and piggyback off of his fame. Right. And I'm like, check the times. Right. Check the times for the videos. Like I've created these for years now, before he even started reviewing videos. Right. And while it doesn't seem like a big deal, like little things like that just keep coming up again and again and again, that distract from actually talking about fragrances, and it becomes more talking about this nonsense that has nothing to do with fragrances, more like a popularity contest, if you will. And I just don't have time for that. And so, yeah, that was it. Stuff like that just started to weigh on me, and then obviously we are all in the fragrance game for different reasons, right? I've
of course
kind of, I guess you could say, kind of grown up. I've grown up to the point where, when I was first doing reviews, I was single. You saw me bounce from apartment to apartment, if you will.
Yes, we did. The trains.
Yeah, exactly. The trains was there. I don't even know how I did that one, but we were right next to a train track, basically. And the trains were there. Let me see. There was the what is it? I got married. You
Yeah.
guys, met my wife Becky. As we went on, and so for me, it was more. Uh, Fragrances was all about, and still is all about, just the enjoyment. It's a hobby to me. It's not.
Yep.
It's not about money, and that's going to be one of my stipulations coming back. There will be zero money gained from anywhere or anyone at that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Like, and it's important for me, because if I treat something like a hobby, then I enjoy it. But as soon as money comes into the equation and I start looking at it from that perspective, it becomes something different, and I didn't like the direction that it was headed in. So
Right.
yeah.
Have you? Let's see if you purchased anything since you've been gone, or anything that piques your interest, or anything that's excites you.
Yeah, I did. I mean, so one of the good things about this is I've got a lot of time, since I'm not doing reviews and spending. Oh, I actually forgot. That was actually a big reason as well. I didn't get as much time with my own fragrances, or to enjoy the fragrances that I like when I was reviewing.
Right.
That was a huge one, because I
Right.
was spending so much time testing fragrances.
Yep.
Like, I didn't get to enjoy my fragrances, and that was big.
Yep.
So going on this allowed me to actually sit back and be like, oh,
Slow
you know
down.
what? Yeah, slow down.
Yeah.
Enjoy your fragrances. You've got all these fragrances here. Just enjoy them. And that's what I've been doing. I've been going through. I took some time out to. What did I get? I got the man. Mason, one of the MFK, Aqua Universalis, not the Forte version. I've been always meaning to get the regular cologne version. I've always thought that was a brighter scent. I got that one as well too. I got
MFK is hot right now. People are loving it. Well, Baccarat, first of all, but that's a different story. But right now in the fragrance community, Baccarat 540 is hot. Like, all the clones, and oh my God, Cody.
Yeah,
I do have Baccarat. I like it, but MFK's got a lot more stuff to discover.
It's got the whole it's there's a lot of good fragrances there. Funny story, I didn't realize that Baccarat would have blown up so much. I actually had, when it first came out, I was in San Francisco at the time, and I ended up having my cousin ended up getting that for herself. Just because we were kind of going around browsing fragrances. I was like, oh, this one smells kind of good, and then she picked it up, and then a couple months later, I'm hearing everyone talk about Baccarat this, Baccarat that, Baccarat this. It's like, where did this come from? And then, but that's the way it is in the fragrance game, man.
Yeah, some hypes are just it's strange where they come from.
Yeah.
Anything else, or just the MFK?
I got the MFK. I also I've been meaning to get Enchanted Forest. I got that one as well too. I like that one. That was one that, I found out that I really like fragrances with what is it? Black currant, basically.
Yes, and that's one of the best.
Yeah.
That you just got. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So those two were the ones, but I've been keeping it pretty chill. I'm thinking of even further reducing my collection to get it down to a more razor focused, so I can.
How big is the collection?
It's probably at about, I think, 120 or something like that.
It's not bad.
Yeah. But I want that down to I think probably 60 or something like that. I want to really cut down and then
cut it down.
Yeah.
So are you going to be reviewing off samples, or what's the
definitely off samples? Definitely off samples. Yeah. I'm just not going to, because again, I don't want to get into it with companies and everything like that. So the compromise is going to have to be that I'm going to have to do it off samples, or smaller versions of the fragrance that I can get for $10 or something like that.
Right.
So that's what I'll be doing. Yeah.
By the way, have you ever done a live like this, or?
No, not with fragrance. No, but I was actually so one of my other hobbies is gaming, right? And with games, and we had a podcast from the ashes that we would do every Thursday.
Okay.
I think. And yeah. And so that was pretty successful. So,
yeah. So Wow, it's it's been a while since we've talked, and I did want to talk about. So I guess you've been on the platform for about 9 years. I remember your first fragrance review,
Mm.
Perry Ellis,
Yeah,
if memory serves me right.
I think
Good
so.
old,
Perilous
good
Red.
old Cody,
Yeah.
and and I do remember I just went on your channel just recently, just to see which one was your last one, which was Aventus Cologne, which I haven't taken a
Ah,
actually. I haven't looked at it because I'm not itching to buy it yet. But I feel like I'm maybe buying Aventus Cologne in the near future, so I might be taking a gander at your channel. So do we have a date in regards to you returning back? I guess it all depends on this COVID thing and going
yeah.
back to NYC, right?
At this point, yeah, it all depends on COVID. I mean, the guesstimate right now, based on the trajectory of what's going on, virus cure, probably sometime in the summer, more than likely, I would say.
Right.
Yeah, that's the best guess that I can give
Okay.
as to when I would be back. Yeah.
Are we going to see the same format, or are you just going to revamp the whole thing?
I've been kind of bouncing around for it. I'll probably have a brand new format. Um, that's still pending though. I'm still not quite sure what I'm going to do for that one. I was thinking about originally, kind of going back to the same format at first, but then I realized, I think I probably want to do something a little bit different this time, and so it's my chance to start fresh, if you will.
That's true.
That,
That's true.
Yeah.
So scent of the night, do you have do you do this or
Unfortunately, I mean, if I was back in New York, yes, I would have scent of the night. But no, right now I did not take any scents with me.
okay.
The decision to leave, we had basically been like, we got to get out of there now. And so
Right.
I rushed over to Newark Airport, we rented a van, drove it back, packed it up, and then the next morning we drove out of there basically.
Out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
So
yeah.
well, nothing. Okay. So
Yeah.
I'll rep for both of us. I don't know if you've smelt this fragrance right here, but I'm going to show it to you. See if you can see it. A good old
Oh
19
yeah. Easy time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. An old school leather based fragrance. So I'm wearing enough fragrance for both of us. I tell you, this thing can blow doors off the room. I love
Thanks,
it.
Raphael. Yeah.
Yes, Raphael wants to congratulate you on your new position at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have about 80 people in the stream, which is a very healthy stream. Great to see that participation. A lot of great comments for you, Cody. I don't know if you're looking at the chat, but I just wanted to mention that a lot of people are happy to see your face. They're just wondering where you've been and missed you. So obviously my platform, obviously we got a lot of old heads too with the fragrance community. So a lot of people that do know you. Good to know. And if anybody has any questions in the comments, please don't hesitate. I'll highlight them. But I did want to go back to how this fragrance community is right now. So you're coming back to the community. She ain't changed. So what's what is going to be? What's your thought on that? Coming back to.
Well, so I've kind of looked at it from almost the same lens that I've kind of had before, and that's live and let live. So what I mean by that, obviously is even if I don't agree with you, I still respect what you do within that space, right? And so that kind of extends to almost anyone that I've come across at this point. Now, as far as what I hope the fragrance community would do, I hope the fragrance community would, I guess you could say, improve on just general integrity,
right?
If you will, because I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So how do you believe? Like, we don't have to put names out there or anything like that, but let's say we got an influencer here, and how could they change the way they produce their content to have more integrity? Like myself, I just say no to the company. It's fairly easy.
Yeah.
But would there be something that they would disclose more in their videos, or maybe instead of saying 10 out of 10 out of everything, maybe be a little more judgmental or be a little harder on these companies. I know there's a lot of companies out there that absolutely refuse giving out fragrances. And unfortunately for those companies now, they're not getting much press on YouTube. There's some great companies, but there's some so-so companies now that are just utilizing this platform as a marketing tool. And we're getting surrounded by, brands that I feel are just subpar, and they're getting glowing reviews, and people are blind buying bottles, and you see their bottles all over these Facebook groups, like for sale, half price, blah, blah, blah. So sorry, I just went on a tangent in the middle of
no, that's fair enough. It's the no, I agree with you on a lot of points there. I mean, start off, disclosure is like the base of, I mean, I'm not going to knock anyone for whether it be, you enter an agreement with a company, you take money from X, Y. To me, that's not important. What is important to me is that you disclose that to whoever it is that you're, creating this review for, right? Because that at least gives them, a fair shot at making, at whether or not to take what you say at face value or not, or, the fact that you might be influenced, right? That I think is key. The other thing that I think is key is maintaining you mentioned it about 10 out of 10 for reviews, right?
Yeah.
Have some spine, right? You don't have to, being critical about something doesn't mean that you're being mean about something. It's giving your opinion on it. And there are many different ways. I feel that that's an easy way to grow as a person. It'll probably affect your career. Being able to give criticism without being, for lack of better terms, a dick, right? You can do it in many different ways. And, this is a perfect chance to practice that without, just blindly giving things 10 out of 10 just because you want, accolades or anything like that. Because it'll overall improve the whole fragrances communities, I guess you could say the quality of fragrances over time, right? If you're honest about what you put across, then that's only going to help things, right? And then finally, I think it's also, just be a little bit more mindful and reach out regarding different types of fragrances, right? Don't be a sheep is what I'm trying to say. Follow, you don't have to, don't buy into the hype train. People, always talk about hype about a specific fragrance, but the fact of the matter is, I have never, ever, actually, with the exception of one, there's only one time that I've ever fallen into hype, and that was from Hero, who hyped Spiritu de Bouvigny. This was like way back in 2011. So I get it on that point, or no, 2012 or something like that. But for the most part, anytime somebody hypes something, I just kind of like, okay, that's a fragrance to keep in mind. And then I keep searching for fragrances that I think that I'll like, and then I'll think, kind of go around and, find what I like, and then make reviews kind of based off of that. And that gives a wider range of fragrances and helps prevent this, I guess you could say, trash houses. And this I have said many times on my channel, I cannot stand imitation houses.
Clone houses. Okay.
I cannot stand imitation houses that sell fragrances for, again, and I have said this again many times, I do believe that they offer a service. I think that is great. But I think over time, that's a really cheap way of, selling, or I guess you could say, or of doing business, if you will. If your business is contingent on somebody else's business, and you're, leeching, a lower price or whatever it may be, I don't give you any respect. I don't.
Funny enough, a lot of these clone houses per mil, sometimes are more expensive than the actual fragrance that they're cloning. Which is, kind of duping the customer. And I understand your customer, you should really do your research before you pull the trigger on anything, right? Even as a fragrance reviewer, you have, let's say myself or you as your favorite fragrance reviewer. I'm not just going to blindly buy stuff that Mark says is a 10 out of 10. Now, after some time, you may figure out that our noses are the same, and you may utilize me or you as the number one tool to find new fragrances. I've done that, even though I'm a reviewer, I'm still checking out, your channel and everybody else's channels. and I'll say, "Oh, Cody discovered this. It seems interesting from his review." So now it goes. It might be a blind buy, depending. You may sell me on a fragrance, but most of the time it's like, "Oh, I've never heard of this house," or "I've heard of this house and I've never really looked at that fragrance in that manner." So I go to Fragrantica or wherever, take a look at the note breakdown. And I'm like, "Oh, those notes look interesting." Then I put into, I'll test it, or maybe I'll blind buy it, depending.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of crazy with this kind of stuff. I can blind buy 30 bottles and not bat an eye. So I'm kind of weird that way.
Yeah, but I mean that's a great point. That's exactly how I would. The reason I watch so many reviewers on that, even the ones that I don't agree with, is because you begin to get a sense for what they like and what they dislike, kind of based on it. Right. You tie it to your own, and then you're able to, like, for example, with you, I know you loved fig fragrances. I couldn't stand fig fragrances, and so I knew what to stay away from on that if you liked the fig note of a particular fragrance. At the same time, however, there are certain animalistic fragrances that I have bought into, like, for example, pulp, or it's got that, the rotting, kind of, and based on that and a couple other ones that kind of have a similar vibe, I was like, I think I might like this fragrance. I ended up getting pulp and loved it. Basically, it's got a very unique vibe towards it that,
yes,
I kind of vibe with. And, with Christo, for example, he was another reviewer that I thought of. He has a very, I guess you could say, particular taste with his fragrances that it goes out there. And because of it, I kind of use him as a barometer for adventurous fragrances that I consider adventurous to kind of go after and check out, for that matter. And if you're not actually reviewing fragrances and just throwing out 10 out of 10, and it's funny, I can actually get a sense of who actually does, I guess you could say, who puts in work into their reviews as
Agreed.
Opposed to those who don't, based on that over time.
And you can tell who's actually saying their personal opinion against a Fragrantica stuff that they've just put together.
Yeah.
Like a reviewer like yourself, you got 9 years in, and I know your particular taste. So if you said really great thing about a fragrance and then you had a fragrance that's really close to that fragrance and you absolutely love it, I'd be like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. But you can tell. Yeah. We got a question from a Facebook user. Name one fragrance that you've reviewed from your first year of, they're going back. First year of doing YouTube reviews that you still love and wear today. I don't know if you can go back in time like that, Cody.
First year. Give me 1 second.
Like way back.
Give me 1 second, only because I've reviewed so many fragrances over time that I'm not sure which ones I reviewed when, basically.
Yeah. Well, I can, while you're doing that,
okay.
I'm pretty I'm systematic on this thing. I haven't taken some time off, so I know what my first year looked like on YouTube. So yeah, first year on YouTube for me, it was all designers because there was really no niche on YouTube at all. So my very first review was on Le Male, which I still absolutely love. Le Male. It's still in the rotation, and again with a collection like mine, it may take some time off. There might be 6 months, 8 months, even maybe a year that a fragrance doesn't get touched. Le Male is pretty versatile. It's one of my favorites of all time. So I wear it at least once a year, at least. But there is some times that I'm just like, I feel like wearing Le Male. And I'll wear it like at night, like before going to bed or something, just to get the fuzzies back from back in high school days. But I reviewed, like that first year, I reviewed Pure Malt. Absolutely still think that that's a stunner. Issey Miyake Summer 2009. I know that I'm known for that. That was in my first month of reviewing. So yeah, that one was great. L'Homme by Yves Saint Laurent. For me, honestly, if you've seen a review of mine back in 2009, right up to 2020 now, my taste has changed. But, if I give a review a 9 out of 10 on a fragrance, that won't be skewed too much from then to now. And that's one thing that I pride myself on is I go back to my reviews and I'm like, yeah, I nailed it. Because I took my time with it, right? I didn't rush them.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that early in my journey, I did feel like I was rushing some reviews, try to get that content out. And I was like, whoa, back up the truck here. This is not a business, right? Just back up the truck, enjoy your hobby, and YouTube's a hobby too. So, but I I love my hobby. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you had time to check out your stuff, but
I did actually. So in that first year, I'm actually looking at it. I, I think I was pretty accurate as well too in terms of what I like still. Musc Ravageur.
oh
Um,
yeah,
that was the very first niche I ever purchased. Um, and I purchased that one by saving up all the change that I would get from like I go to lunch every day to like the like 51st and like the what is it 51st and 6th Avenue. It's like the halal cart or whatever, and I
yeah,
would take the change every single day and just throw it in, and I saved up enough and I bought it and still love it to this day. It is still my
love it.
ballsy scent. Love it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So we got Kevin here just saying he loves you. Very good fragrance reviews.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Here we got something from Joey. So I am Joey Cannoli. What was it like being in the good smellers? Give us some hot tea talk. Oh boy.
Oh, this is good. The good smell of the good smell. Okay, so and again, I'm being completely honest here, just because I'm still friends with a lot of those guys here. Actually, for the most part, almost all of them, basically. And I've been very candid, and I'm always very open about talking about what went down and everything like that. I think the idea was very good in terms of all the fragrance reviewers from New York City who all got together and talked about fragrances, loved fragrances, got together for fragrance meets and everything like that. And then eventually it sort of turned into we would try and figure out if we could create a platform that all the good smellers can kind of go through and submit work to, if you will, right? But then it eventually got to the point where I remember I think the reason that I stopped going through it was I got into it with who was, I think it might have been Carlos. But it wasn't because of anything mean or anything like that. It was because I think he expected me to do fragrance reviews at that time for it, because I don't think at this time I don't think he actually had a channel for it.
No.
And
I think, correct me if I'm wrong. They were he was like the guy that was taking care of the blog.
yes, he was taking care of the blog, and he had a really successful channel, or like it was like I forgot what it was, like PLP or something like that.
Oh yeah, Facebook group.
Yes, it was a Facebook group.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
Facebook group.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, and with my vibe, it was more like, I don't treat this as a job. I'm not signing up to do X amount of reviews, to fill something for the sake of filling something. And so, so we had that clash and, just went our separate ways kind of after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was also kind of weird in the space because I was pretty much the only reviewer kind of doing things at that time. And then, the rest, everyone else, was very busy with their life. Frunkinator, he's a busy guy all around.
Miss that guy, by the way.
Yeah, great guy. We're
If
still.
you see him, tell him I said hi, because I haven't.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We talk. Frunkinator, Lewis, Igor, and we talk like every day, basically, at this point. And so,
yeah.
But they weren't doing reviews, right? So Frunkinator was busy with work, so he wasn't doing reviews. Lewis didn't really do reviews, up and down the time. So I didn't really feel like I wanted to be the one to constantly be pumping out videos and nobody else kind of do anything. So it just kind of went to the wayside, and it didn't really change things in that we all still love fragrances, talk about fragrances, and try and get fragrances if we can, but there's no added pressure of trying to do it for YouTube. It's a hobby, right? And so that's what we do. We treat it like a hobby, right? Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good answer. I'm sure that's the tea that he wanted.
Yeah.
Thanks for being honest. Here's a good one. I don't know if you've been gone this long, but you may have seen that there's actually a bunch of reviewers now dropping their own brands, and I can name drop for you if you need. I don't know if you've heard of any of the brands, but I'm sure you know about Jeremy's drop, because I believe that was before you left anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeremy's got two men's fragrances. He's got candles now. He's got a woman's line coming out. Since you're in the New York team, I'm assuming you know about Steven's line.
Yes, I heard of his
line out.
I did. Yeah.
We got a couple other, obviously from way back when. We got Kerosene and Mr. Oz. I don't know if you've followed him, but on YouTube at all. Do you recall Mr. Oz?
I've heard of him. I don't think I got to the chance of following him.
A lot of niche and indie stuff on his platform.
Gotcha.
And Peter from the UK. So Mr. Oz and Peter from Fragrance View, both of them actually made their own stuff. So it's very interesting. But
interesting. Okay.
So how do you feel about people on our platform starting to do that? Fragrance brand.
So, okay, wish them all the best success. Never going to say anything negative about them in that respect, because, if you're launching that, then it's basically like a side business, right? So, and I always want to encourage people, to do things like that. My issue is remaining a reviewer in that case, an active reviewer, if you will. Because personally, at least for me, if you are creating fragrances, then you cannot be impartial about reviewing fragrances. You can't, right? You have your skin in the game. It'd be like Nike, creating shoes, and at the same time, exactly, reviewing Adidas, and I don't think the shoe is so good, right? Or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter if it's true or not. You cannot be impartial if you are an active participant within that game. And so a good example to that, remember Kerosene? Right?
Yeah, that's exactly what came to mind as I was going to say, just like Kerosene, right?
Yeah, Kerosene came out with a fragrance, and he immediately recognized that this was a conflict of interest. Like, he could not be impartial, blah, blah, blah. And so he shut down his channel. He moved away from it and became somebody who created fragrances as opposed to a fragrance/reviewer, right? So that's my only beef with the whole thing. Like, again, I'm sure their fragrances smell, great. I'm sure they're all good in that. But being a reviewer and somebody who reviews fragrances at the same time as creating the fragrance just does not work for me. Yeah.
So Jeremy, the way he does it is he puts like adverts of his stuff in the middle of like a top 10 list or in a review. How do you feel about that? Like, here, I got a top 10 list, but by the way, Office for Men is 60% off. Code is this.
Well, okay. So so I've never seen any of those. I don't doubt you for a second. My take on that is this. And to understand it is this: I don't have a problem with it only because I've never viewed Jeremy as a reviewer. Right? I genuinely have not. And that's why I've never had a problem with him, is because I simply don't. I don't feel that he's a reviewer, because as we talked about earlier, you can kind of get a sense of who is spending time with this, right, versus who's not. That's part of it. But I feel that he, and I've said this on my channel many times, I think he is perfect for a specific type of person. If you are looking for something that, is going to drive the ladies wild, right? If you're looking for that type of fragrance and that is your goal, I think Jeremy is a perfect person to go towards as somebody who will give you recommendations for that, right? But if we're talking about objectively giving your opinion on a fragrance, based on, whatever criteria you may have, I just haven't ever looked at him in that light, and so I've just never had a problem with him on that respect, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, he's like a salesman. He's like, you drop him in the middle of Macy's and look at the top 10 sellers, and that's his top 10 list.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that works for him because of marketing, first of all. So obviously he wants to reach out to as many people as he can. So when you put Sauvage and all the top sellers in your list, like for me, if I'm putting this in a top 10 list and I'm putting it number 1, right, my scent of the night, how many people are even going to be like, oh, right? Maybe 100 people out of the whole fragrance community.
Yeah,
about it. So me putting Sauvage gets the hits, right? Let's flip it, because we talked about Jeremy, but let's talk a little bit about Steven. and Steven has his own brand.
Mm.
How do you feel about, he sent me some of his brand, but he has people that are very close to him that give glaring reviews on his fragrances, and it has created a buzz in the community that how come all his scents are amazing. But I guess anybody with half a brain would be like, I won't take that review. I'll take it with a grain of salt. But
right.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, yeah, full disclosure here. I like Steven a lot. I've met him a couple times. I have no problem with almost anything that he does. At the same time, however, again, that whole going back to the whole reviewing at the same time as marketing fragrances, I just don't think mixes. And because of that, I haven't been back since then. Since he released it, but before that, he was actually somebody it was one of my must watches, if you will, right? Because I started getting a sense for him as well. There are a lot of people, even people who don't think they're must watches, who are must watches for me, just because I find they give very good reviews and useful feedback. But with this particular change, I don't think I could watch his reviews anymore because of that. And it's not because out of, obviously still love the guy. I'll, go over to his house, invite him to my place. But because of that, I can't do it. It's my own problem. Yeah.
And I'll talk to you about this during the stream, and you let me know what you think. But, I have Steven's stuff. And I got Jeremy's stuff too, and I'm kind of sitting on all this stuff. Again, I didn't promise any reviews out of them. Jeremy said it to me. He's like, "Yeah, you can do a review or not. I don't really care." That was pretty much our. I'm like, okay, I'll take a look at it. But now I'm kind of second guessing. Should I put it on the channel or not? And I do, obviously, because everything that's sent to me, I will review. But will this, what if I give a bad review? Because honestly, Office for Men, looking at the note breakdown and looking at what it's compared to, it's not going to be a good review. It's not going to be a good time.
Gotcha.
With Steven, right? I'm just like, I think Steven's more, he wouldn't take it personally.
Yeah.
He knows what he gets out of me, hopefully.
Yeah. With Steven, for me, like he'd be one of the people that I couldn't review. Like, if you look on my channel, I've never reviewed one of Kerosine's fragrances, right? And that's because I know the guy, right? And because I know it's not just even a matter of integrity, but I genuinely could not give him a bad review because I wish success for him.
You wish him well.
Because exactly on it, and I don't want to be a contributing factor to why he does not succeed, even if I think that is justified, right? So I could never review one of Steven's fragrances, and for that reason, I've never reviewed one of Kerosine's fragrances on that.
Yeah. There's an internal struggle with me. I've reviewed a couple of Kerosene stuff. I reviewed Whips and Roses, which I felt was okay, and I was honest with it. I didn't give it 10 out of 10. However, I got Follow, which is one of the best coffee-based fragrances, actually the best coffee-based fragrance that I've ever smelled. But then in my mind, I'm like, am I hyping this? Because no, it's not kerosene. No. This is some really good shit.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Backup Bottle Boss. By the way, best YouTube name ever. Do you still think, Dracdoc, do you still think leather oud smells like poop?
Yes, I do. It does. It still does.
You buy that?
Sorry,
you regret that one.
That one I was testing. I'll never forget it. That was actually a story that's burned in my brain. I was testing it, and I was walking, and I was like, "What smells like shit?" Like literally, but because I was walking down the street. What street was I on? I think I was on like 57th. I was walking away from Bergdorf Goodman, and that generally is not a street that smells bad or anything like that. And so I was kind of looking around. I realized, oh shit, it's me. I smell like shit, basically. Yeah. And so, yeah.
But funny enough, back in 2011, when I went to New York, that's one of the bottles I bought. I went to all the boutiques, and that's the one. I went to Chanel. I went to all of them, and that's the one bottle I gravitated towards. Don't regret it though. It smells great. I love it.
I can't stand that. That's a little too. It's a little too animalistic for me.
A little too much.
Yeah.
Raphael on YouTube is saying, Cody, my brother and I went to Saks to sniff and immediately buy Creed Spice and Wood because of your review.
Ah, Spice and Wood. Thank you. Yeah, that is a good one. I liked.
Good one.
I in my time of thinking that just throw it away, never come back to the fragrance community, I've always thought about, if I was to just go hard, I would probably get rid of all my fragrances and go all Creed and Tom Ford, basically, and just have all of their bottles kind of lined up for summer and winter respectively, and theoretically would do that, and just have their collection for the most part and be fine.
Wow. I am there's so many comments. I just lost my space here. Shit.
Oh.
Damn it. I'm gonna try to. Smells like Barbasol. Yeah, Rive Gauche smells like Barbasol. Here we go from Facebook. For some weird, I guess the Facebook users their names don't show up. So from Facebook, what is your favorite vanilla fragrance? Is it still Double Vanille for Cody?
What about you? Let's go with you first. What's yours?
Favorite vanilla? Spiritueuse Double Vanille by Guerlain.
Same thing.
100%.
Same thing. Yep.
It's simplistic yet bold. Very syrupy. You could say boozy vanilla if you want. Very smells like vanilla extract, pretty much. And
oh yeah.
I love my vanillas, and I like my dense vanillas, and that one is just.
Yeah.
Like simplistic. Yeah. There's stuff that's way more complex than that thing, but sometimes simplistic is good. And yeah, I haven't found anything even close to that, honestly.
Same.
Yeah.
The same. Not even close.
We both like the same vanilla. So if you ever, what's your number two, Cody? What's your number two?
Actually, funny. Lewis is responsible. City Messiah is responsible for me getting that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He we were all at Bergdorf Goodman, and I think I was there to buy something else, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy Spiritueuse Double Vanille, and I was like, let me smell that. I remember Hero talking about that for once, and at first sniff I was like, I have to have this, and I ended up spending twice as much as I thought that I was going to, because I just threw down for the bottle immediately.
Beautiful. Yeah. Did you get the old school bottle, or?
Yeah, I have the old school bottle too, with I love it with the wax stamp on it, and yeah, I love it.
Just like me. I'm halfway through it now. I'm kind of sweating a little bit.
Oh. Oh man.
I have other vanillas. Sometimes I just go for another vanilla, and I shouldn't be doing that. I got a big enough collection. Maybe at 20%, I'll be like, okay, maybe put it away for a bit. But every time I wear it,
yeah, boozy, deep, rich. It's like, yeah.
Let me see here. Oh, someone's saying that they miss Lewis too. God, that brings me back, Lewis. Those names that you just brought up, man.
Yeah, they're still around. They're lurkers now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through these, doing your own thing. Oh, we got a question here from Alex. Hey, Cody, just curious if you still use a wine cooler to store your fragrances. And a bunch of nice stuff after that.
Oh, cool. Thank you for the nice stuff. Yes, I still use the wine
You can see those, right?
Yes, I see them. Okay, yeah, actually. Years of reviews. Most of my favorites I got because of you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yes, I still use a wine cooler. That was my initial criteria. Every fragrance that I have to have fits in the wine cooler and nothing outside of it. Now I want to get it down. When I said 60 bottles, I want to get it down where I can have it displayed nicely and have, that's what it is.
Wow, I feel like a jerk right now. I got a wine cooler and curio cabinets after curio cabinets.
My wife is still pissed at me because she's a huge wine drinker, and one of our first dates, Yeah, one of our first dates, I had brought over to my apartment, and we're going around, and she's looking, and she's like, "Is that a wine cooler?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And she goes running over, to see what kind of wine that I have, and she opens it. It's all fragrance. She's like, "What the hell?"
Jesus.
uh,
Did
yeah,
Steven really review his own fragrance? I don't. I would have to go take a look at that. He gave it a 10 out of 10. Oh.
yeah, yeah.
BC, you miss street sense. Don't rub it in. Well, I'll still doing it. I'll correct me if I'm wrong, Cody, but he takes the winters off, right? Obviously, you can't do
I think
street
so.
sense
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
winter.
Yeah, he's from all I remember he has, because it's a lot tougher to do it then, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, Joey Cannoli wants to know how you felt when you've heard about Dan, of course.
Shit, that was sad. Yeah.
Passing away. Rest in peace. Another guy that was I would say a pillar in our fragrance community too.
Mm.
Really influenced a lot of people. Did such great work. I think he was one of the first ones to bring his wife, his family into the foray
Yeah.
of reviewing. I absolutely loved it, and that's why he won Fragrance Idol. He was awesome.
Yeah. Great guy, man. He, always remember, he always brought his enthusiasm. He always brought, his passion to the review and to the court, basically. I miss that guy. Good guy.
There's a lot of stuff about Steven. I'm just gonna
Mm.
I'm just gonna pass through that stuff, some of that stuff. Georgia Jet, which is the new fragrance reviewer, newish. His name's Matt. He's an up and comer, I guess. He's I think he's got like 700 or 800 subs, or maybe more than that now. But yeah, good guy. Always refreshing to hear an honest review. Yeah. And yes, Eugene is also casting right now. I think he's with Christo.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, good old Christo. He his channel's pretty dormant now, Christo.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of lost he just kind of lost passion of it, I guess, a little bit. So he doesn't really do reviews, but he does a lot of live stuff with Eugene. He's the guy that I reference Comme des Garçons with. So I always go back to him and I go, "Hey, the CDG is kind of interesting. What do you think?" And he's already on it. He's like, "Yep, smelt it, and this and this and this, and you'll like it." And done. So, and that's what I like about our fragrance community is I can think of like a certain reviewer and I'll be like, I'm gonna go talk to him or her and see what they think, because see if they have a review or even talk to them. So.
Yeah. Crystal was definitely the CDG man.
Yeah.
So
someone's got a question here. What does Dracdoc think of the Guerlain Ideal line? I don't know if you've tried that line.
Have I? Yeah, I have. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It didn't really jump out to me.
They've been releasing a lot of those. I think they're up to like their 6th bottle now.
Oh, really?
If I remember correctly. Based obviously on the Tonka bean.
Yeah. Oh man, jeez. I wonder if I should actually go back to who had a catchy song it was. I think it was probably. Sorry, I just randomly thought of catchy intros, and
I definitely got one of those.
Coach Rob was one.
619,
yeah. For some reason, I kept saying it. Coach Rob was one. At one point, I think Brooklyn Fragrance Lover or Carlos had a good intro as well too.
He still has his. He's very proud of that. Of that intro.
Yeah, it's catchy. It's catchy. They've all got. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I need one of those. I need an intro.
I've always sucked at mine.
Okay, here's a question from Martin, and he's got a picture of Aqua Amara, and he's asking about Aqua Amara. Is it worth the hype, Cody?
Unfortunately, you're probably not going to like my answer. So, I don't.
That's why I put it up there.
No, I'm not a fan of Aqua Amara, unfortunately. I don't think it's worth the hype, but we all got different tastes. If that floats your boat, who cares what I say? You know.
Well, exactly. Yep. That's funny. Spiritueuse Double Vanille versus Tonka Imperial.
For me, that's easy. I know you like Tonka Imperial,
Yeah.
but for me, I never got into Tonka Imperial, so for me, it's STV.
I'm gonna pass. I'm not even gonna answer that. They're both the jewels for me.
Oh, nice.
For me. Here's a question for both of us, so I'll pass it on to Cody first. But why don't we review Aqua di Parma?
Aqua di Parma, which one?
I don't know if he's as a brand. I do talk about Aqua di Parma, so
Yeah, I do
pretty
too.
sure you have too.
Yeah. So they have a lot of fragrances, so that's why I'm kind of like, which one?
Tons.
Yeah.
I'm actually I want to take a look at their the brown bottles that they have, like the oud, the leather, and the amber.
Yeah.
Have you smelt those?
Huh?
Have you smelt those?
No, I haven't actually.
Brown one?
Well, I may have smelled them, but I don't think I've spent a good amount of time with them. Like I think when Min New York had them, I might have. No, you know what? I don't even think I did then. No, I don't think I have. Yeah.
Serapio's asking if Pinot Silvestre is wine cooler worthy.
I
Do you know that bottle? The little it looks like a little pine tree.
Oh,
A little $5. No.
oh, geez.
No? Okay.
No.
Moving on. Chad's in the house from A Gentleman's Journey, fellow Canadian.
Oh, hey, Chad.
Fellow reviewer.
Yeah. Good to see him. I see Chad a couple times whenever I go to. Actually, he's the one. And whenever I go to Toronto, I try and check him out and see him.
Yeah. Hey, well, next time you go to Toronto, let me know.
Okay, cool. Wait.
It's a couple hour drive, but I'd love to, hang out if you have time, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll hit you up. We usually stay with my wife's friend Mira. They live in some beer district, I think, or I forgot what it's called. It's not too far from the airport, but yeah.
Okay.
What distillery district? Yeah.
I see people are coming downstairs. They're coming to see you. Do you need to head out there, Cody? I know that we didn't talk about a timeline or anything like that, but
yeah.
If you need to jet out, let me know. Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Mr. Loomis did ask about your state of your collection. I don't know if you want to. You've already mentioned it, but maybe just a.
Yeah. So yeah, I've my collection's at about 120. I'm gonna probably reduce that down to about 60. I'm probably not going to sell them at this point. I'm probably just going to give them away, to people because at this point now they're all fragrances that I like and are, really good. So I want to give them to good homes, if you will. Right.
Yep.
So I'm probably going to end up giving them to friends, family, or even coworkers that I think could use a boost in their fragrance collection and go from there. I gave my cousin a couple when he came, and I'll kind of whittle it down to there. And then I'm only going to buy things that I genuinely really like from that point. So yeah.
Complete opposite of what I do.
Yeah.
I got a whole room of this stuff. I have a problem. I know. The first step is admitting it. That's as far as I'm going, though.
Yeah.
Georgia Jet asks, what's your favorite review that you've done on your channel, looking back?
Oh.
Or I'm assuming a video, any video or anything that you're...
I'm trying to think because it's kind of, I devote a lot of time to reviews. So I'm curious when he means favorite, like that I enjoy doing the most, I guess.
That's the way I would take it. Yeah.
Okay. That is a really tough question. I actually so I would narrow it down to the period when I was still having other people smell the scents.
Right.
Because that was a lot of fun, like going through and you know what? The Aventus review, I would say. Because yes, and I'll tell you why. Because Aventus is so, it has a high place within our community, especially among men, but I did not find the same reaction among women. Like women just did not enjoy it anywhere near as much as men. And even I only put 2 women in that fragrance review, but there were a lot more women that actually had almost the exact same, that thought it smelled like pine sol or something like that, and were not enamored with it. So whenever I tell people that Aventus is like catnip for men and women don't like it as much, they go ballistic. They're like, "How dare you say that about
How,
me?"
how dare you?
But that was, and it was fun to me because it surprised me that women did not like it as much as men, and so it was a lot of fun to kind of get those reactions from it. But yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So Bowtie Fragrance Guy says, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
If you could review a fragrance with a famous person, past or present, who would it be and what frag? Wow.
That's a deep one. What?
That's from Titan Fragrances too, a fellow reviewer. That is a deep one.
I'd personally, I would probably go with Tom Ford, actually.
Ooh, good choice. Very
Yeah,
good choice.
I'm really curious because he seems to be more directly tied to the creation of his fragrances as well too. I mean, a lot of parfumers, do it. I was in my head, I was thinking uh, Muscovage creator. I'm blanking on it.
Oh, Roussel.
Yeah,
Or Frédéric Malle? No,
yeah,
Roussel.
Rousseau. I was
Okay.
thinking, but yeah, I think it would probably end up being Tom Ford. I think. What about you?
Choice. Well, I was thinking Kobe Bryant, but now I want to go Tom Ford. I'm stealing yours. Because Tom Ford would be a lot more interesting talking fragrances with him
Yeah,
and going, okay, so private blend, which ones are yours, right? Which ones do you hold? Do I think Oud Wood would be the one? Because the
yeah,
M7 connection with that, would that be the one? Because he's very private
yeah.
in a way.
Hmm.
So his taste is a little eccentric, like a little different, but at the same time, he's interesting. I would sit down and pick his brain, really. It would be
Yeah,
fun.
me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Oscar asks, what do you think is going to happen to the fragrance industry if we go into a deep recession here?
It's gonna take a hit.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
yeah, it's definitely gonna take a hit. I
Yeah.
mean, fragrance is, I mean, if you're functioning correctly, it's a tertiary expense. It's way down there in terms of what you can purchase. You got your family, you got, schools, bills, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's gonna take a hit.
Of course. Yeah. I'm thinking, who's going to take the biggest hit? What do you think? Do you think it's going to be the big names or the small ones, or like these small shops here, like the Min New Yorks of the world?
The mid New Yorks are gonna get hammered. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah. Actually, that's a really good. I wasn't gonna say them, but now that you said it, they're the most in danger from this whole thing because
These small shops.
yeah, the Min New Yorks, the Oswalds, they're gonna get hit.
Yeah. That's what I thought. A lot of these indie brands really have a lot of an online presence than anything. So
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to get hurt as much. I think the niche brands are going to get hit, the ones that are obviously in the big shops and stuff like that.
yeah,
Um, but again, they have, I guess a lot of them have a lot of big backers, but I'm thinking like brands like a James Healy, right? A small niche brand.
yeah,
Um, a lot of these stores are closed now, and you may not have such a big online presence. That's where
yeah,
it's going to hurt. Like the MFKs and all that, the Tom Fords, they're going to be okay. They'll take a hit, but
yeah.
they got the backing, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking really the niche, the real niche ones.
Yeah, yeah. The niche ones, yeah, they're gonna take a hit. Yeah.
Yeah. Brian is asking opinions on how to create layers and layering. Are we into layering? Do you want to hit that up?
Sure. I mean, I've never really been into layering.
No, me neither.
It's, a fragrance should be good enough to stand on its own, basically.
Yeah.
If you're layering, then you're trying to make up for something else. That's just me. I know there are a lot of people who do go through layers. All the more power to you, but I like to evaluate the fragrances on their own.
Right. Same here. I don't think I've ever experimented, to be quite honest. I've never thought about picking up 2 bottles and going spray, spray, spray.
Mm.
I really am into, obviously, the artistic side of fragrances. So when I'm wearing a fragrance, like a fig, we'll say, because it's Cody's favorite topic, I got Marc Jacobs Man right beside me, fig based fragrance.
Yeah.
And I would never think of, I'll put fig with an amber based fragrance, a niche amber based fragrance. I'll put this together and see what I get. Like a Frankenstein of some sort.
Yeah.
It might work. But for me, I really enjoy that. The creative end of this is I want a fig. I want to try this fig, and especially for fragrance reviews, I want to dissect it and stuff like that. And I enjoy them more that way.
Yeah.
I don't feel like making Frankenstein. I've never was into it. There's nothing wrong with it if somebody else wants to do it, but I was never interested ever.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. Man, these comments are coming in big time. Oh, I just highlighted Chad just because I saw his sexy mug. I think I just highlighted it. I don't have anything into it. Brad's in the house. Remember Brad?
Oh yeah.
he's in the house.
It's I always thought Brad was the one most likely to review
There's Brad.
Index, basically.
Brad, I watched a Brad review of, what was it? Earwax removal. I do not know why I clicked on that video.
But that's what makes you keep coming back. You never know what he's going to review next. I love it.
I don't even know if I commented. Maybe I didn't, but I definitely hit like, and I don't even know why I watched it.
Yeah.
So is there anybody back in the day that you'd love to have back in the fragrance community, just to inject some life into her community? And again, it doesn't have to be someone that's like a hero. It could be somebody like I don't know, Katie Puckrick or someone like that. Or
I was actually thinking about Katie Puckrick. She was I really. Oh, you know what? There was another person who was like Katie Puckrick who did shorter reviews. But I forget his name. I think he was from Canada.
Cubby?
Cubby. Yeah, Cubby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first fragrance reviewer. The very first one.
Was Cubby the first?
Yeah.
I always thought it was what's his name? The one in Illinois. What was that guy's name?
Why is his name not Sweatkoff? Tim?
Sweatkoff. Yeah. I always thought it was Sweatkoff.
No, it's Cubby.
Oh man, interesting. Okay.
Cubby, Katie, Tim,
Yeah.
Then me.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Short point, basically.
And he would work well in this, in 2020, like his style.
Yeah, his style would work pretty well here. Yeah. But actually, if I'm probably going to say Katie Puckrick because Cubbies were short, but I got a lot more out of Puckricks. Like she was really good at condensing a review into a very short time to hit the vital points and then be out, basically.
Yeah, she had a good sense of humor too. She put some humor into it too.
Yeah.
So BC is asking, what video games are you playing these days? Off topic here. Come on.
Yeah, I've been playing the Division 2, which strangely enough the theme is around a virus that hits the world, basically, and it's the same thing that was what's going on now. Right. So I've been playing the Division 2 for the most part and really enjoying it. Yeah.
Symbian Black is asking, have we tried Overture Man by Amouage, so the newest Amouage?
No, I have not.
I'm assuming you haven't.
Yeah.
It's on my blind buy list, which is huge. So we'll see. It will eventually make it in my hands. Bowtie Fragrance Guy's asking, Cody, how did your weight loss go? Is it improving?
Yeah, it's actually it's improved about, I think 15 pounds, give or take.
Congrats.
Thanks. And The interesting thing was I was trying to find a way to do it within the span of, being, how do I say it, like within my lifestyle, if you will. So I started, going to jujitsu class pretty religiously, and
Nice.
then, incorporating walking to work religiously. So that was a good 3 miles a day, and then yeah, it was good.
Were you in martial? You were in martial arts before. I remember that.
I was,
Weren't you?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to do Muay Thai um, for a period of like 3.5 years. But this time I switched it up to jujitsu just because it was a little bit more of out of my comfort space, if you will. Because while I'd done martial arts, I never got into wrestling or grappling. I always found it uncomfortable to grapple with another man. So, and so I
Yeah,
figured,
blame you.
yeah. And so I figured, you know what? Why don't I just do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? It seems like a really good skill to pick up, at the time. And so I started doing it and loved it ever since. Yeah.
Nice. What do you think about top 10 videos?
Top 10 videos. Uh, I've had the same opinion on them as I have. I personally, I'm neutral on them, and I say neutral because I get why there's a certain segment who don't like them, because it seems like if you look at so many people, there are so many top 10 videos out there. Everyone has their own top 10 list, and there are so many top 10 lists to do for, season, top 10 compliments, top 10 blah blah blah.
Even events now, like St. Patty's Day, boom, Easter, top 10 for
Yeah.
Easter. And I'm like,
Yeah.
there's even videos about this COVID thing.
Oh
Top
yeah,
10.
that didn't surprise me. I was counting down the time till when somebody released the top 10 like quarantine fragrances to.
I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, it was just it was just a matter of time.
Anything to make a buck.
Yeah.
Sorry, but not sorry.
So, but the flip side to that is, in terms of, so this one I lay at the feet of the fragrance community, because the reason why top 10s are done so much is because they get clicks. Right? And if they didn't get clicks, people wouldn't make them. So if you're going out of your way to, even if you don't like it, to click on a top 10, you really should be clicking on the review a person had, painstakingly made to do it. Because if you look at a review and it's got like 200 views or whatever, and you look at that same person's top 10, it's got a couple 10,000, like, you're telling them what to make by your clicks, right? So don't forget that.
By the way, you missed this, Jewel, and I hate pinpointing one fragrance reviewer, but you missed this, Jewel, Cody. Top 10 fragrances to get a girlfriend. That is a real video topic.
Damn, that's.
Are you thinking about coming back here now? You're just.
What's the criteria? Like, are you saying like, and like, what have you used to get it? Like, in, I don't know, whatever. That's probably not even worth thinking about. Basically, I mean,
I had to. I'm sorry. That's for my own pleasure.
I mean, all right.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
I just have so many questions off of that, and none of the questions I think will lead to an enrichment of my mind in any way, shape, or form. So I'm just gonna let it drop. Forget it.
Yeah, it's probably best. But I thought it was funny. Fragrance Mafia is thinking of buying Muscaravejar. Well, you got two guys here that absolutely love it. Someone said it smells like tobacco vanille. Are they similar?
Not really. There are similar notes within it, but let me think. Sorry, I'm trying to remember specifically like the feelings that I got from each of them. It's tobacco. No, actually, sorry, I'm gonna do a hard no. I'm remembering what tobacco vanille was, and for me, it's a no.
I feel the build is the same way.
Oh, the build of them?
Yeah, like I'm not saying they smell the same. No, they don't. But comparing them side by side, it really feels like the same nose made both of them. Like, I know it didn't. Roussel didn't do both. No, but it just feels the way they transition and everything.
Uh-huh.
which is it's a weird way to compare two fragrances, to be quite honest, but I feel that.
Interesting. All right. I'll have to re-smell Tobacco Vinny specifically. I remember how Musk Ravageur builds, but Tobacco Vinny I haven't worn in a while now, and I'll have to remember how that one builds. Yeah.
So this question must be to you because I definitely don't feel that way.
Oh, Sauvage is a 10? Let me see. I mean, yeah, for the most part, yeah. So Sauvage I had as a classification. So I want to be clear. In that video, when I gave Sauvage a 10, this was when it had first come out, right? And the reason I said it was a 10 was, well, one, I said that despite the fact that it was a 10, it's not a 10 on my own list, right? In other words, in terms of what I would give it, as far as like, I didn't even go on to wear Sauvage really for the most part afterwards.
Right.
The reason why I gave it a 10 was because I thought that it would be a drop down people pleaser, right? Like in the realm of a Bleu de Chanel, in the realm of an Aqua di Gio, this is the new king in terms of a generic fragrance that people will love, no matter what you come across. And for that reason, I gave it a 10, right?
That brings me to an interesting question of my own. Is well, I guess your reviews, they're are they part your thought process, but you also want to help out the audience that is looking at your channel. So you may look at this like a Sauvage and be like, this is a utility fragrance and I can see a lot of people wearing this. And this is how I'm going to score it. I'm going to score it accordingly. Like you said, right now, you said, you know, this is one of the better in its genre, I guess.
Yeah.
So as a fragrance reviewer, how much are you going to put in as your own opinion versus what you feel the people want to see? Or, you know, you're there to help out people make a decision. You're a part of it.
So I'd probably say, so this is, so a criticism on me, I haven't been consistent on that. It depends on the review. Like I'd probably say most of the time it's about 50-50 in terms of, like I'll give my opinion. Like in any fragrance, I'm going to give my opinion, what I think other people will think of the fragrance, and then kind of, you know, meld that to eventually give my review. I think I more started out the former, where it was really all my opinion, and then it began to turn into the latter, where I started to take more people's opinion into play. So, for example, a good idea would be, and you can see that reflected not just in Sauvage, but in fragrances, or in fragrances like, what is another one? I remember, I think I gave it like a 7 out of 10, but for me it was a 10 out of 10. Because I thought I loved it, but I knew that other people wouldn't like it.
The audience, yeah. Interesting. Because I honestly, I put my opinion as the main factor. I'll put in some thoughts on the side. Like I end my reviews with, okay, this would be good for blah blah blah. Like a Sauvage will not get a 10 on my channel. It won't even sniff a 10, baby. It might not even hit 5.
Yeah.
but again, I have to think about, you know, maybe someone that's really new that stumbles upon my channel, you know, what am I going to say to that person? You know, am I going to say Sauvage is trash? Yeah, I'll probably be honest with you. But I will say that it's a versatile fragrance. I'll say that it's maybe one of the better ones in the blue section. I may say that. I probably won't. I'm not a fan of it. But, I do little tidbits like that. That's what I do. And I score it accordingly to what I feel, like my hot zone. Like I always think that at the end of the day, when the review's done, am I going to pick up this bottle? You know, it has all this competition in my, you know, within my collection. Is it one of those that's going to sit there for 6 years collecting dust? And if it is, it should be under 5 for me as a fragrance reviewer, and say, look, there's a lot better in the same genre, and there's a lot better all over the map. You can find better for the pricing. So that's how I kind of tackle it. How much I enjoy the fragrance and how much I'm going to enjoy it after the fact. Something like a Dylan Blue by Versace. I'm not probably not going to touch that anymore.
Ah, gotcha.
Right. But it's like a darling of the community, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
while other reviewers may give it an 8 or 9, which is, for a fragrance that's out there, I see the positives.
Mm.
But for me, my opinion, I guess, goes above that. I feel in
Mm.
my reviews.
Gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense.
So we got a question about one of your fragrance reviews. I don't know if you see it there on the screen. Your Ombre Nuit review.
Yes. You mentioned I have a bad memory involved with scent running for. Yeah. I remember that one. Are there any other frags where good or bad memories of wearing? Your thoughts? Yeah, actually, with a lot of my fragrances, that's part of the name of the game. Like, you create associations a lot of times with it. Like, I have a lot of really good associations with Spiritu du Bouvigny. The fall. I have good associations. Going, pumpkin picking and like to Sleepy Hollow. With that scent and up and down. I've got good associations with it and bad associations. With some fragrances, and
Yeah.
that's just the way it rolls. And Amber Nuit was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's just that. It's just a matter of fact.
I feel like those stories in a fragrance review. I really like the nice organized reviews that boop boop boop, give me the facts.
Yeah.
But I really, really like the ones that have a personal story that's involved with them. Now, again, it won't affect me, but I could see it gives me more enjoyment in the fragrance review. Like you saying why this fragrance is so highly on my radars because I've had this memory with it. Like Le Male with me. And everybody has these, right? Those teenager fragrances. Like Le Male to me is like a Hugo Boss for somebody else, right? Back in the 90s, or Nissi Miyake, or freaking Nazaro Chrome that I hate so much, right? But that's that sentimental fragrance.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like, to me, I feel like that kind of plays around in your head a little bit, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the beauty of scent. It's it'll affect you in ways that you don't think is possible. So yeah.
So someone's asking here, Cody made 2 review videos on Living Stromboli. So I guess that's a light blue, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you had different opinions in each one.
Mm-hmm.
How did your thoughts and experiences change?
Yeah. Man, that one was a while ago. So
Going back.
yeah, so that one, it was just, so that one was genuinely a strange one because I think that was probably the fragrance that I had on my skin the longest amount of time, and that one really did shift. And for some reason, yeah, that one shifted drastically, actually.
Right.
And yeah, that's just, and then that actually really started confusing me because I was like, should I go over and review every single fragrance that I had? Because maybe time just changed my opinion.
Oh, shit, I've done all this all wrong.
Yeah. And I started freaking out actually for it because I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to do all this over again. And then I was like, no, screw that, I'm not going over all this again. And so yeah.
That's funny.
Because actually there was another one that I had a similar vibe to. It was Le Male. Because I remember when I first came across Le Male, I was not the biggest fan of Le Male. I love Le Male now. It is one of my favorite scents that I've got to have a bottle of. And it's I can't explain it. Sometimes your opinions just change, man. And so
true enough. I did want to pick your brain, and again, you can stop me at any time there, Cody, because we're an hour and a half in, but we have around 100 eyes on us, so that's pretty good. I wanted to ask you in regards to fragrance reviews. A lot of fragrance reviewers go with top 10 videos now as the staple of their channel. Do you think it's the end of standalone reviews?
1 second. Hold on a second. I have to answer a question real quick.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. While he's talking, Backup Bottle Boss says he likes longer reviews for sure. So I certainly appreciate that. And I kind of want to talk to Cody about that a little bit too and see his thoughts on that. Let's take a look at if there's any more here. Cody's back.
Okay, there we go. I'm back.
You're
All right,
back.
I actually got 5 minutes. I realized I
Sure.
did not realize that I was actually keeping my wife from watching her Tiger King show.
And we really don't want that.
And so, yeah,
All good. All good.
yeah.
So we'll just hit you up with that one last question, I guess, and we'll let you be.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I wanted to talk to you about maybe this is a two-pronged thing, but there's a lot of fragrance reviewers now in the scene that they build their channel on top 10s, top 5s, a lot of different I guess topics, but standalone reviews are getting less and less views. What are your thoughts on that? Because we used to be built on standalone reviews.
It's disappointing to me, just because I think I genuinely think you build off of you build off of the actual content, and the content are the reviews themselves in order to have top 10 lists, right? That you go off of. And I'll compare it to to pretty much almost any other genre that you have out there. Video games, stereo equipment, PC equipment. You'll see these reviewers that actually do reviews on the standalone content that they have, and then they'll create top 10 lists kind of based off of that. It's more rare to see someone who just does top 10 lists because you have no
background.
Background. You have no frame of reference, if you will. And so it becomes just something, fun to watch or something like that. But I mean, it makes it a little bit hollow, in my opinion. And so if I had my wish, my magic wand, I would have them do reviews. I get why they probably don't do it, and that's because obviously single reviews don't get the views that top 10s do, but I genuinely feel that they're essential to building, to having substance, if you will. But that's just my selfish opinion.
It's a good opinion. I agree with it. All right, so we'll let you be, but I just wanted to kind of close this off. Thank you, first of all, Cody, for your time. I really appreciate it. You've been out of the game, and it was more a personal treat for me. I just wanted to touch base with you to see how you're doing, and then why not get you on YouTube and get everybody to see your face again? So I'm sure a lot of people appreciate it. To the ones that don't know who Cody is, Dracdoc is his YouTube handle. We're hoping to see him near the summertime, I guess, back into the fold. I'll definitely be looking out for that. And again, thank you so much for your time, Cody.
All right, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun talking to you, just talking fragrances. Haven't done that in a while, and yeah, good stuff.
Well, nice to see you. And
all right,
everybody, have a good one. Have a good night. Thanks again, Cody.
Take care, man. Take care.
Bye.